Another Amber Heard video has resurfaced online recently, and this one features Raven Simone. She ran into her at a gas station while she was charging her Tesla, and she posted a clip of the moment on her YouTube channel. Raven was sitting with her wife Miranda in the car, and the two of them got excited when they spotted Amber right next to them. Raven said, "We are charging our Tesla right now, and I swear to God, the girl next to us right now is Amber Heard and her lesbian lover." Raven then turned around and asked her wife if she should get out of the car and greet her. She referenced a moment in the 2022 defamation trial and said, "Oh my God, say hi to Amber, cut my finger off and see if she'll claim it." The joke was about the explosive fight in Australia in 2015 that left Johnny Depp missing part of his middle finger. He had accused his ex-wife of hurling a bottle of vodka at him that shattered his hand. Raven then commented on the woman that Amber was with and said, "Oh my God, her girlfriend looks like Johnny Depp." At this point, the two of them are still in the car and they see that Amber starts screaming and crying on the phone, but they only laugh about it, and Raven says, "Is that a Chanel purse? No, it's YSL. Nice purse, Amber." The video then cuts out as Miranda turns around and tells the camera that she dared her wife to take a picture with Amber, but that led her to getting locked out of her own Tesla. Apparently, when the actress went back to her car, it was locked with her phone inside, her purse inside, and her jacket. But did Raven stick around and help her out? Surprisingly, no, they just laughed about it. The former View host then turned to the camera and said, "Amber, I am so sorry you got locked out of your car, but my picture is amazing." She pointed to a selfie of the two of them at the top of the screen. The funniest part about this was that Amber apparently had no idea who Raven was when she asked to take a photo with her. So far, the video has around 5 million views on YouTube and counting, not to mention the fact that the comments are hilarious. One person wrote, "Not someone with a 5-minute career not knowing an OG with decades-long career. This was also hilarious." And getting the selfie was just a savage receipt. But this wasn't even the first time that Raven and Miranda poked fun at the actress. During the trial, the two of them made it abundantly clear that they supported Johnny Depp by posting parodies of the court proceedings. They posted numerous reenactments of the trial, including one about Amber's tendency to face the jury while offering up non-answers. In one of the TikTok videos, Raven plays the role of Johnny's attorney, and she pulls up a photo from evidence featuring Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. She says, "3 people have already testified that this is a picture of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. Are you saying that they're lying, Miss Heard?" In response, Miranda channels Amber when she says, "I can't answer that question without the metadata. If you show me the metadata, I might be able to tell you when that photo was taken." But all jokes aside, there have been lots of videos of the actress resurfacing recently, like the one on TikTok when a user by the name of Bernardo Triana shared a video dancing with her. Amber looked really happy with her signature red lipstick as she swayed her hips to the music. The video quickly went viral and was viewed over 11 million times in less than 48 hours. It was taken in Guatemala and she was dancing with a young member of the film crew from the movie In the Fire. The movie is currently in post-production with no release date listed on IMDb. But if you're wondering what she's been doing in the 8 months since the trial ended, Amber is reportedly living in Mallorca, Spain, with her daughter and her rumored partner Bianca Butti. So clearly she's trying to live a more low-key life and put the events of last year behind her. We're going to talk about someone that we haven't seen in a while. Amber Heard has just gone viral on TikTok. 2022 was a rough year for her. The cameras were focused on her every move, and she went through one of Hollywood's most high-profile legal battles ever with her ex-husband Johnny Depp. This year, Amber seems to be letting off some steam as she tries to put the events of last year behind her. In a recent video published on TikTok, she can be seen doing just that. On Wednesday, a social media user by the name of Bernardo Triana shared a video dancing with her to Selena's Como La Flor. Amber looked very happy with her signature red lipstick and she swayed her hips to the music along with her dance partner. The video quickly went viral and it was viewed over 11 million times in less than 48 hours. And judging by the comments, not everyone was happy to see her pop up on their feed again. But the video also did receive a ton of positive responses as well, with some fans saying that they were happy that she was out there living her life. Viewers were quick to point out her impressive rhythm and dance moves, and how she was able to keep perfectly in time with the young man, who seemed to be giving her a quick lesson in some salsa moves. We know that the video was taken in Guatemala, and she was dancing with a young member of the film crew from the movie In the Fire. The movie is currently in post-production, but it has no release date listed on IMDb. This new TikTok has got a lot of people wondering, where on earth is Amber Heard now? Well, she is reportedly living in Mallorca, Spain, with her daughter and her rumored partner Bianca Butti. In October, it was reported that she was renting a mansion under a pseudonym from a family of a local politician who was released from prison in early 2020. A source told People magazine that after the exhausting trial, Amber is focused on raising her daughter Una in Europe. They went on to say she spends every day with her girl. They stroll around, visit parks, and enjoy family time. Amber is a great mom. So in other words, she's trying to keep it low-key, although some people would say that she's basically basically gone into hiding. It's been 8 months since the trial that captivated the world ended, which awarded Johnny Depp $10.3 million in damages and $2 million to Amber. But in December, the two of them agreed to a settlement where Amber would only have to pay Johnny $1 million, which is a significant reduction from the $8.35 million that she was ordered to pay him. In a statement, Johnny's attorney said that he would donate the money to charity because for him, the case was never actually about the money. In her own statement, Amber said that she had lost faith in the American legal system, and she also said that the settlement spares her the ordeal of further litigation and allows her to finally emancipate herself from their marriage. She said, "It's important for me to say that I never chose this. I defended my truth, and in doing so, my life as I knew it was destroyed. The vilification I have faced on social media is an amplified version of the ways in which women are re-victimized when they come forward. Now I finally have an opportunity to emancipate myself from something I attempted to leave over 6 years ago, and on terms I can agree to. I have made no admission this is not an act of concession. There are no restrictions or gags with respect to my voice moving forward." She went on to say that she exhausted almost all of her resources during the trial, and she was exposed to a type of humiliation that she simply cannot relive. Amber claimed that even if her appeal was successful, the best outcome would be a retrial, and that's something that she cannot go through for a third time. As for Johnny Depp, he's clearly having something of a career comeback at the moment. His new movie is now in post-production, and a few photos have already been released and it looks amazing. Johnny also has a new deal with Dior in the works at the moment, so he certainly has a plan to make his big Hollywood resurgence.
Now, if we're discussing controversial celebrity couplings, the infamous pairing of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are in the news yet again, unfortunately. Since the couple's turbulent defamation lawsuit, they've been in and out of the news headlines consistently for the last year or so, and if recent developments are anything to go off of, they might just be back there for the time being. It's only been a month since Depp filed his formal appeal of some of the verdict in his sweeping defamation against ex-wife Amber Heard, and now Heard has put her own brief in the Virginia courts, claiming that the court battle she lost was stacked against her. In June, after a long ongoing trial, a US jury had ruled that Heard had defamed her ex-husband, Johnny Depp. Heard is requesting that the court reverse this decision against her, and either enter judgment for her or dismiss Depp's claims. Alternatively, Heard's legal team is suggesting as well for a whole new trial to go into effect if the court refuses their request to reverse the decision. Her legal team's documents read, "At a minimum, the jury's excessive damages verdict should be reversed, and the case should be remounted for a new trial on damages." The argument from Heard's legal team is that the court improperly prevented the jury, considering several instances writing from a 68-page court document dated November 23rd. They continue to argue that if not reversed, this could set a precedent in which other victims of abuse could have trouble coming forward or proving their claims, and will likely deter them from coming forward, also written in the document. That holding, if allowed to stand, undoubtedly will have a chilling effect on other women who wish to speak out involving powerful men. As well, Heard's lawyers went on to note that the previous unsuccessful libel suit brought against Mr. Depp in 2018 against the Sun newspaper for calling him a wife-beater, suggesting that this separate US libel should not have ever even gone to trial, because another court had already concluded that Depp had abused Heard on multiple occasions. After Depp had filed this case, the United Kingdom High Court of Justice had ruled that Heard's allegations had been true. Heard's legal team went on to suggest too that it was a mistake to center the trial in Virginia, and rather it should have been performed in California, where the couple had lived together and most of these grievances had taken place. Virginia was chosen as that's where the Washington Post kept its servers, the original cause of the suit, but as the defense argued, Depp v. Heard doesn't have as much weight to the community of Virginia that it would to California. Finally, they added in that they believed to be their hypocrisy inherent in the jury's ruling, stating to find in favor of Depp, but to find in favor of Heard, the jury must have concluded that Heard told the truth. Accordingly, the verdict against Heard cannot stand, reads the legal team. Now, the case received international attention, with televised documentation of the case raking in billions of views on social media. And it's expected that should another case go through, a similar phenomena will follow suit. At this time, it's currently unknown what the situation of the case going forward will be, but no doubt if any news develops, we'll be there to cover it.
I'm sure you have all been seeing the concerning footage of Cara Delevingne lately that appears to be the result of substance use. Her current situation continues to get worse, causing her family and friends to become extremely worried for her. A famous gossip columnist has come out and put the blame for her worsening addiction on Amber Heard. I guess Heard can't stay out of the press for long because here we go again with some negative accusations. The whole thing all began began with some disturbing footage of Delevingne speaking on the phone right outside of the Van Nuys airport, sporting no shoes and visibly disoriented. Her jerky and erratic movements caused people to believe that it had to be substance use. Cara had struggled and opened up in the past with addiction and dark thoughts surrounding her life. Now, where does Amber Heard fit into this all? You may remember from Heard and Depp's trial, but Delevingne and Heard allegedly had a romantic relationship while she was still married to Depp, but upon further investigation, it seems the women's relationship goes much deeper. According to gossip columnist Jessica Reed Krause, Amber and Cara would organize Hollywood sex parties that had many billionaire tech moguls in attendance. Delevingne was allegedly one of the many famous women that Heard would set up with her wealthy clients. Krause has no major confirmation about Cara's involvement in these parties, but there are photos of her at these events. Apparently, to no surprise, these parties would always include drinking and drugs, which is the major issue that Cara is dealing with now. Krause directly blames Amber for hooking Cara on hardcore substances at these parties. There were screenshots of an email released talking about how Cara's downfall began when she got involved with Amber early on when she made the move from the UK to the States. The email claims that Cara got Stockholm Syndrome and essentially began to mimic Heard by recruiting other women to participate herself. According to the email, Amber would give an already hooked Cara a ton of C, which she would get from Johnny. I can't actually say the name of the substances because YouTube will be mad at me, but you get what I'm saying. Amber made her addiction worse, and then Cara began to dabble in a harder drug that Cara would mix with GHB and began using H to ease the come downs. There's a lot more detailed information about what all went on at these parties and between Heard and Delevingne that you can find online if you want more info. What definitely did not help Cara was getting her name dragged into the Depp versus Heard trial. There is no way to know just how much it affected Cara, but it certainly wasn't a positive one. Since the trial, there are reports of Delevingne ghosting Heard and not answering any of her calls despite their previous involvement. To top things off, the Instagram account Demois, which posts celebrity gossip things, shared an image that said Amber Heard won't come out to support her ex-girlfriend Cara because she's trying to repair her image, even though Amber is the one who got her hooked on dangerous substances in the first place. Obviously, this is all from a celebrity gossip writer, but if Krause is right about this whole thing, Heard's already damaged image is about to get a whole lot worse. I'm wishing the best for Cara and getting the help she needs. I hope she gets well soon and is able to tell her truth. What do you think? Have you been seeing the videos of Cara? Did Heard have a hand in her current state? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below.
First up, we got Cara Delevingne. Model Cara Delevingne is one of many celebrities who's been dragged into the case of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It was claimed that Heard had a three-way affair with Cara Delevingne and Elon Musk. Allegedly, the three of them hooked up at Depp's downtown LA penthouse in late 2016 after Heard split from Depp. After the rumor started to go viral, Musk shut down the claims. Page Six reported that he never slept with Cara and they were only ever friends, with Musk saying, quote, "Cara and I are friends, but we've never been intimate." She would confirm this. Musk also said he did not start seeing Amber Heard until a month after her divorce filing. And I'm sure that Cara does not like her private life getting pulled into this mess, especially since she's very quiet about her personal life to the public. Next up, James Franco. Even though James Franco is an A-list actor, for the most part he keeps a pretty low profile. Other than when he's promoting movies, he is rarely talked about by the public. But he's another celebrity who was pulled into the Amber Heard vs. Johnny Depp trial, and I'm sure he hates it, especially considering he's been accused of inappropriate conduct with women in the past, and he's not someone that most people believe. James Franco and Amber Heard have worked together on multiple movies in the past, and when they shot 2015's The Adderall Diaries, Depp was convinced she was having an affair, which turned out to be true, as video footage showed the two getting cozy in an elevator. Heard claims that when she saw him that night, he asked about her bruises. In an audio recording shared in court, Depp could be heard telling Amber, quote, "I become irrational when you're doing movies. I become jealous and effing weird, and we fight a lot more." I'm sure Franco also doesn't like that he's on the side of Amber Heard, who is quickly losing public support. There's even a chance that his link to Amber Heard could hurt his acting prospects in the future, as Johnny Depp fans are known to boycott anyone and anything that involves Amber. Next up, Kate James. When Kate James first testified in the divorce against Amber and Johnny, she testified in support of Amber. However, James decided to change her story after she realized way too many of Amber's lies were not adding up. Heard's former personal assistant, Kate James, testified against her in court, claiming that Amber was full of anger and horrible to work for. James testified that she never saw Depp getting physical with Heard, but she did see Heard enter blind fits of rage on many occasions. Allegedly, Heard once spit in her assistant's face when she asked her for a raise. Along with this, Heard descended into screaming fits of blind rage, sent incoherent text messages at 4 a.m., and was often drunk and high on illegal substances. Then when asked about Johnny Depp, James only had positive things to say. James said that when she interacted with Johnny Depp, he was very calm and almost shy, quote, "like a total typical Southern gentleman, James said. James has been a key figure in the court of public opinion. Since she changed her opinion to be on his side, many believe Johnny is telling the truth. Next up, Jennifer Grey. Jennifer Grey, former fiancée of Johnny Depp's, is also being put into the conversation surrounding this trial. Grey has stated that the trial breaks her heart and she wishes that it was resolved. Grey and Depp were engaged in 1989, adding that she thinks it's sad and wishes everybody well. Shockingly, Grey did admit that in their past relationship, Depp was possessive and would get into fights at bars regularly. The pair were in a long-distance relationship at one point during their relationship, and at one point he started to get more in trouble with the law, saying in her book, quote, "Johnny was commuting every week back and forth from Vancouver, but he had begun more and more regularly to be getting in trouble, fights in bars, skirmishes with cops." According to The Independent, she continued, quote, "He'd start missing his flights home to LA, having overslept, but when he did come home, he'd be crazy jealous and paranoid about what I'd been up to while he was gone," which is similar to what Heard has said about him. Heard has testified that Depp was incredibly jealous of Heard's friend and co-star James Franco. Although some of what Grey has said could be considered similar to what Amber Heard has said, Grey still refuses to take Amber's side and will not publicly defend her. Elon Musk. Elon Musk has been in the news for a number of reasons recently, from his Twitter takeover to his involvement in the Amber Heard trial. Heard was in a brief relationship with the billionaire in 2017 following her split from Depp, and Depp has long accused Heard of cheating on him with Musk, even though Musk vehemently denies this. During the trial, it was exposed that Musk gave a majority of Heard's pledged donation to the ACLU, clearly helping her to cover up her lies. During the trial, we learned that the ACLU has so far received over $1.3 million in total. Elon gave $500,000 to the ACLU, Johnny Depp himself donated $100,000, and another $350,000 was given from a fund at investment firm Fidelity. In court, it was alleged that the Fidelity funds also came from Elon. Finally, only $350,000 came from Heard herself, even though she pledged to give $3.5 million to the organization. Elon paid the money because he believed Heard was desperate and the victim of harm from Depp. But if the court finds Amber Heard guilty of lying in this case, he will have no choice but to stop defending her. He might even have to ask for his money back. And finally, Howard Stern. Howard Stern has never been shy about his opinions on celebrity matters, and it's been no different in regard to the Amber vs. Johnny trial. Stern trashed on both sides of the trial, but he said that he believes that Johnny Depp is a massive narcissist. During his legendary radio show, Stern said that Johnny Depp was, quote, overreacting while on the stand. He continued that he believes Depp is a narcissist who wanted the trial televised because narcissists, quote, think they can talk their way out of everything. Adding, quote, on the narcissism scale, I think Johnny Depp is a huge narcissist. And what I mean by that is that he'll figure, I put this on TV, and because I'm so persuasive and I'm so smart and I'm such a wonderful guy. Stern said that the trial is not going well for anybody, saying that the pair sound like two battling children.
Starting off first, we have the TV host and former friend of Heard's, Amanda de Cadenet. Back in 2020, Amanda publicly spoke about withdrawing her support for Heard after some explosive evidence was revealed in the 2020 UK libel trial. The TV host was initially supposed to be called by The Sun, but in a legal declaration that was filed in June of that year in a separate case, it was revealed that she had quite a change of heart on where her opinions and thoughts stood on the entire ordeal after hearing some of the audio tapes that were released. More specifically, she is talking about the audio tapes where Heard admits to striking Johnny in the jaw, as well as the tapes where she can be heard verbally abusing Depp. Amanda is quoted as saying she was appalled and shocked to hear how Amber was speaking to Johnny. It was later said that Amanda was feeling as though she had been misled in her friendship with Amber, especially when she was there to support her while these alleged disputes between her and Johnny were still ongoing. In the 2020 UK trial, there was even a text exchange between Amanda and Amber that was read out to the court. The exchange came after the alleged interaction in which Amber claims that Johnny threw a phone at her face in May of 2016. The text from Amanda to Amber read, quote, sleeping sounds like the best thing. Put some arnica on your face, make sure you have photos of the injuries please, and text them to me or Rocky. Despite this clear support seen in 2016, it appears as of 2020 and the trial, her feelings have definitely changed. The next celebrity we are moving on to is Robert Downey Jr. Of course, as many of us know, Johnny is facing a ban from a lot of studios, especially
especially since he lost the 2020 trial against The Sun. I mean, it definitely is common knowledge considering that is part of the reason this trial is ongoing at all. Johnny is said to have shot Fantastic Beasts 3 for just one day before he was ousted from the project. This is similar to his role of Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. The next movie, which is the 6th installment, is said to be proceeding on without their leading character. Of course, this is detrimental to Johnny and his long career, but it is said there is one celebrity who is working hard to get Johnny another starring role sooner rather than later. It has been reported that Robert Downey Jr. himself has been working to get Johnny Depp brought on the team for the upcoming Sherlock Holmes 3 film. Despite this sort of friendly help at this point in time, it isn't exactly likely that this will happen, even with the support of Downey. Warner Bros. Controls the rights to the Sherlock Holmes films, and they are also in control of the Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts. Like we mentioned before, they already dropped Depp from that movie, so I can't imagine them signing him on to any others in the near future. This could all change depending on the outcome of the trial, but there's also a chance, even if the trial does end in Johnny's favor, that the studio still might not want to bring him onto the project. At this point in time, only time will tell. The next celebrity is one who was actually brought up during the trial. Initially, this celebrity wasn't scheduled to testify, but we may just end up getting testimonies from her now that the defense has opened up the door to do so. While Amber sat on the stand during trial, she told the jurors that the only time she ever hit Johnny was during an incident in which she claims the pair was fighting over his alleged infidelity. During this fight, Heard claims that she thought Johnny was about to push her sister Whitney down the stairs, which is the reason she claims she hit him at all. She said, quote, "I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs and I swung at him." What Amber was talking about there, or referring to, is the rumor that Johnny had once shoved Kate Moss, who he dated in the 1990s, down a flight of stairs. This mention of Kate might end up blowing up in Amber's face, as this now might mean that Depp's team could call Kate to testify, and her testimony could be, and likely would be, that the incident never happened. A source close to Depp has said that he and the supermodel have remained close friends, which makes people believe she would likely testify on Johnny's behalf. We will have to wait and see if she does end up being called in to testify or not, and if so, we'll wait and see what she has to say. Another former flame of Johnny's who has spoken out in support of the actor is Winona Ryder. The pair dated from 1989 to 1993, almost 20 years before Depp and Heard's marriage. But that didn't stop the star from speaking out back in 2016 when these allegations were just coming to light. In a 2016 interview with Time, she called the idea that Depp would hurt Heard, quote, unimaginable. She said, quote, "I can only speak from my own experience, which was wildly different than what is being said." She went on to say, quote, "I wasn't there, I don't know what happened, I'm not calling anyone a liar, I'm just saying, it's difficult and upsetting for me to wrap my head around it. Look, it was a long time ago, but we were together for 4 years, and it was a big relationship for me. Imagine if someone you dated when I was 17 when I met him, was accused of that. It's just shocking. I've never seen him be violent towards a person before." This may have been the first time she spoke about the allegations, but it wasn't the last. Ryder also released a witness statement to the court in 2020 which would detail and confirm that she never experienced any sort of violence or harm in her relationship with Depp. It doesn't appear as if she will be called to testify in this ongoing trial, but it is very clear that her experience and what Amber claims her experience with Depp are very, very different. For our last celebrity today, we have Heard's co-star in the Aquaman franchise, Jason Momoa. The pair played love interests in the first film and are set to reprise their roles in the upcoming sequel, which is scheduled to be released next year. Because of this working relationship, fans were surprised to notice that Momoa dropped a follow on Depp's Instagram, but this was only after the trial was well underway. It isn't known the exact date or time of when he hit that follow button, but Eagle Eye fans pointed out that prior to the trial, the Aquaman star was not following Depp. This follow didn't come with an unfollow of Amber, however, so people believe that this perhaps may have been to show neutrality in the situation, but people just can't get past the timing of it all. Maybe it was a move curated by his PR team, or maybe it really reflects his true thoughts and feelings on the matter. At the end of the day, there is a huge petition online that has been circulating to have Heard entirely removed from the slated sequel, and if this does end up happening, who knows what Momoa's follows and unfollows will look like.
Starting off at our number 10th spot, we have James Franco. Actor James Franco and Amber Heard seemingly had an affair while Heard was still with Johnny. Footage was released showing Franco going up in an elevator with Heard to the penthouse that Johnny owned the day after Depp allegedly assaulted Amber. The footage shows Amber getting cozy with James in the elevator. Although James hasn't spoken out about the incident, probably due to being focused on his own legal battles, but the public has decided that he must be on Amber Heard's side. But honestly, silence is just silence, so personally I wonder if he actually is. In any case, they're definitely not that tight, otherwise one would assume that he would have said something. But who knows, maybe not. People are weird and not always very loyal. Facts of life. Next up in our number 9th spot is Ellen Barkin. Known for co-starring with Johnny in the popular movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Ellen dated Johnny for a brief period after this movie in 1998. Ellen has reported that while dating Johnny, she witnessed Johnny being verbally abusive and witnessed him throw a wine bottle at the wall once. She has testified, though, that she has never seen him be physically abusive, but that he had bouts of violence. Interesting. So this testimony has led her to possibly testify on behalf of Amber in the upcoming weeks. Johnny has previously commented on the remarks that Ellen has made against him and said that Barkin just holds a grudge against him. He has been quoted as saying that a element began with Miss Barkin, which lasted for months on and off, really because she was making the film with me at the time, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. She wanted a proper relationship with me, and I did not want that. I didn't feel the same about her as she did about me, and I suppose from that moment on, she became very angry. And since then, I haven't spoken to Miss Barkin. Interesting. Well, I guess we'll be able to decide for ourselves when she testifies in the upcoming weeks. Next up, in our number 8 spot, we have Amanda de Cadenet. Known for her being a very famous British talk show host, Amanda is also known for being a media activist as well as a friend of Amber Heard. There is debate as to whether she seemingly stands for Amber. Even though she's been silent on the topic, one could argue that that is more due to wanting to stay out of the fire. Nobody wants to be burned, let's be real. But the Daily Mail UK have actually reported that Amanda has now changed sides. They said that Amanda had listened to the infamous tapes where Amber admits to hitting Johnny, as well as telling him that no one would believe him if he told people that he was a victim. And since listening to these tapes, Amanda has changed sides. They reported that Amanda has felt used and misled by Amber, but Amanda has not confirmed this herself. So who knows where she stands officially. Coming up in our number 7 spot today is British TV personality Sharon Osbourne. Now, Sharon hasn't necessarily picked Amber's side, but some say she definitely thinks that in this case, both were abused. Sharon Osbourne has been quoted as saying that they are as bad as each other and that it takes two to tango. It's a horrible British accent. I know that they were both drinking and it was a volatile relationship. Not bad, not bad. As much as I am all for— oh, that's not Anne, that's not her anymore, that's me. As much as I am all for personal responsibility, that comment somehow falls a little flat when it comes to commenting on a trial about a career being completely ruined and, of course, the potential of false allegations being at play. Absolutely, I hope they both learn their lesson, but in this case, most of the evidence seemingly points to one being the perpetrator, but hey, maybe that's just me. Would love to know your thoughts though in the comment section below. In our number 6 spot today, we have tech icon Elon Musk. Elon dated Amber in 2016 to 2017, and there's rumors that there was some overlap while Amber was dating Johnny, as there is footage of Elon getting out of that famous elevator on the penthouse floor where Johnny Depp owned all of the apartments. He was said to testify on Amber's behalf, but has seemingly now backed out.
This is another questionable Amber stand, as Elon hasn't actually commented on being on Amber's side. In fact, pictures that show Elon with major face bruising while dating Amber have been circulating, and some are very suspicious of this. It's interesting that Elon, who's notorious for being quite the free speech activist, hasn't spoken out and debunked this theory. Does that mean that perhaps it's true? And if he really didn't think that she was capable of the allegations against her, wouldn't he say she was a nice, sweet gal and not capable of these accounts? Similar to how so many are saying about Johnny? Interesting. Very interesting indeed. In our number 5 spot today, we have Eve Barlow. Eve Barlow is known as a pop culture journalist and more recently known as being a very close friend of Amber Heard. She has taken Amber's side publicly on many occasions, including most recently, when she is quoted as saying, "It's easy for women with low self-esteem to hate AH, Amber Heard, or justify their prejudice towards archetypal feminine strength/beauty by denying their envy of it. They perceive an afforded power that's truly a myth and excuse their own inefficiency at being resilient against misogyny." Yeah, Eve, I'm not sure how much prejudice is at play here with Amber, admitting to physically hitting Jay on a number of occasions, but sure, we should all be open to possible prejudice at play always. We all have our own biases and they can be influenced. Next up in our number 4th spot, we have Io Tillett Wright. Author, photographer, and he is known as being one of Amber's friends. Towards the beginning of these trials, it was very clear that he was on Amber's side. Some say he still is, but I have my suspicions. Why hasn't he been quoted as saying anything about the trial recently? There's speculation that he will testify on her behalf, so we'll have to see when he does or if he does. But he has gone on record previously claiming that he overheard a conversation between Heard and Depp while on the phone with Amber. He's quoted as saying that he allegedly heard Depp attack her and tell her to get out of the house. Wow. He told the court the phone then sounded like it dropped to the ground, hearing the actress say something like, "You just threw the phone at my head." He then said the next thing he heard was Depp saying, "Oh, you think I hit you? You think I hit you? What if I peel your hair back?" Well, if he did indeed hear this, then we have no reason to think he wouldn't still be defending Amber, right? But I guess time will only tell. In our number 3 spot today, we have Christy Sexton. Known for being a very famous acting coach, Christy Sexton has previously gone on record supporting Amber. She testified on Heard's behalf in the 2020 trial between Depp and the UK Sun. She has gone on record stating that Depp was previously controlling with Heard's career, and that Depp was also very concerned about her being around James Franco. After seeing the elevator footage, arguably, he might have been justified. Again, it is unclear as to whether she will testify in the Virginia trial, nor if she still stands by Amber. In our number 2 spot, we have actress Jennifer Grey, most famously known for the box office masterpiece Dirty Dancing. There is some speculation that Jennifer is more swayed towards Amber's side, as she dated Depp briefly in the 80s and has reportedly said that she remembers Depp acting in a crazy, jealous, and paranoid manner during their relationship when he wanted to know what she'd been up to while he was away. She has said that at the time she attributed his ill temper and unhappiness to him feeling miserable and powerless to get off 21 Jump Street. She has also said that Johnny was sweet, loving, and romantic to her, and she has never gone on record experiencing any physical violence from him. She has recently commented on the trial, being quoted as saying, "All I can say about that trial is that it breaks my heart for everybody involved. I just think it's sad and I wish it was revolved, and I just wish everybody well." In our number 1 spot today, we have the very famous director, James Gunn. Gunn is known for directing the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, Suicide Squad, and Aquaman. When asked if he would be firing Amber from the Aquaman franchise due to the allegations against her, he has been quoted as saying, "I don't think we're ever going to react to, honestly, pure fan pressure. You gotta do what's best for the movie. We felt that if it's James Wan and Jason Momoa, it should be Amber Heard. That's really what it was." Because of this reaction, some wonder if he supports Amber. But What you may not know is that James Gunn has gone through his own version of cancellation due to offensive tweets that led to his firing of Guardians of the Galaxy. So perhaps not firing Amber is an act of compassion and understanding how it feels to be let go for what he may believe to be seemingly unjust reasons. I agree with this to some extent. It's very sticky water taking someone's livelihood away from them, and perhaps it's not the most appropriate solution to help someone learn a lesson.
First up at number 10, Kate Moss lie. One of the most talked about things to come out of Amber Heard's testimony was her assertion that Johnny Depp had gotten physical with his past girlfriend, Kate Moss. While Heard was talking about an altercation between Depp and her sister Whitney, Heard said that she recalled a rumor that Depp pushed Moss down the stairs, and that's when she sprung into action to defend her sister. After Amber brought this to light, Depp's lawyers decided to bring Moss in for questioning. Depp's lawyer asked if Moss was ever pushed down the stairs by Johnny, and she denied it. She stated that at one point during their trip it was very rainy, and she ended up slipping and falling down a flight of stairs at the hotel. Once this happened, she called out for help, and Johnny came running to pick her up and do whatever she needed. When the lawyer asked if Depp had ever gotten physical with her at any time, Moss continued that he never, quote, pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs. And at number 9, ACLU donation lie. One of the worst cases of Amber Heard lying on the stand is in regards to her donation to the ACLU, since it's so easy to get to the truth. During her divorce proceedings, Amber went on record stating that she would donate the proceeds from her divorce to Children's Hospital of LA and the ACLU within 10 years, claiming at the time she did not care about the money, rather she just wanted justice for what she had gone through. However, Depp's team brought to light that Amber never donated the money that she pledged she would. In court, an ACLU executive stated that they did not get anywhere close to the $3.5 million that she claimed. Terrence Doherty said the nonprofit received 4 donations in Amber's name so far, totaling only $1.3 million, and only $350,000 of that came from her directly. The remainder and largest portion of the money came from Elon Musk, her former boyfriend. Amber also took credit for a $100,000 donation made by Johnny Depp, go figure. And at number 8, leaked phone call. Probably the biggest bombshell over the course of the divorce were these leaked phone calls between Johnny and Amber, and of course these calls were brought to light once again during the recent trial. In these phone calls, Amber admitted to hitting Depp. In the call, Heard said, quote, I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. I was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. Adding, quote, I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. Depp then replied, I left last night. Honestly, I swear to you because I just couldn't take the idea of more physicality, more physical harm on one another. Heard finished off saying, quote, I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, I effing sometimes get so mad I lose it. So in this call, Amber not only admits to harming Johnny Depp, but she also tries to shame him and tell him that she didn't even hit him that hard. And at number 7, pooped in their bed. This one is straight up disgusting. But the couple's housekeeper exposed that Amber Heard pooped in their bed while Heard was in. But the couple's housekeeper exposed that Amber Heard pooped in their bed while the couple was married. Housekeeper Hilda Vargas said in a written statement that she found the feces and knew they were human. Vargas added that after she told this to Johnny, Amber Heard approached her and told her the photos had destroyed her marriage. The housekeeper said she apologized to Amber, adding, quote, I was very nervous and so I apologized, even though I did not believe that their marital problems were my fault or that I had done anything wrong. And she finished off saying, quote, she has a bad temper in my opinion, and I did not want her to yell at me. Depp stated in court that Amber tried to blame it on their dogs, but he is convinced it came from Amber or one of her friends. And at number 6, forced assistant to lie. In their divorce trial, Johnny Depp's former estate manager has testified that he lied under oath because Amber Heard forced him to do so, or she threatened he would lose his job. This was after Amber was charged with bringing her dogs to Australia illegally and not abiding by the country's restrictions on animal travel. Kevin Murphy, the estate manager, said during the trial, quote, Amber wanted me to say essentially that it was my fault in one way or another that the paperwork wasn't completed, so that I could take the blame for her. Murphy's statement claimed that Heard said to him, quote, I want your help on this. I wouldn't want you to have a problem with your job. After being pressured into it, Murphy decided to lie under oath to not get in trouble with Amber. Because of this shocking revelation, Heard was investigated for perjury by Australian officials. Halfway number 5, inconsistencies in her story. Since the internet is clearly on Depp's side in regards to the trial, after Amber Heard took the stand to testify, the internet immediately started dissecting her testimony. Viral TikToks even show people acting out her retelling of events, and it makes literally no sense. In one TikTok, the audio hears Amber claiming she was sitting on the edge of a couch, then she says how she was on the floor looking at how dirty the rug is. Painted the picture that her version of events makes no sense. A tweet breaking down another event said, quote, I walked out of the bedroom and he slapped me in the face. I turned around to face him and said, Johnny, you just hit me. The user pointed out that you cannot be slapped by someone and then turn around to face them. And at number 4, Heard copying Depp's outfits. This is one of the many bizarre things that Amber Heard has done in court that has left everyone scratching their heads. After many days of Amber showing up to court wearing almost the same thing that Johnny had worn the previous day, it became clear to viewers that she was copying his outfits. Some experts even claim this might have been done as an intimidation tactic. Dr. Shannon Curry took to the witness stand and testified that she diagnosed Amber Heard with 2 personality disorders. Dr. Curry claimed that Amber's disorder may cause her to, quote, take on the identity of the people they are spending time with because it's comforting. Many fans on Twitter pointed out the strange coincidence, noticing how Heard will copy the color and style of whatever Depp wears the next day. And at number 3, Milani Cosmetics contradicts Amber. During the trial, Amber's lawyer stated that Amber would walk around with makeup constantly in her purse in case she ever needed to cover up a bruise that Johnny had given her. In court, the lawyer held up Milani Cosmetics' all-in-one correcting kit while telling the jury how Heard concealed alleged bruises on her face. During the trial, her lawyer held up the makeup and said, quote, this is what Amber carried in her purse for the entire relationship with Johnny Depp. She's an actor. Do you honestly think she would have left her apartment without makeup? Do you think she would ever have wanted other people to see her bruises and cuts? This is what she used. She became very adept to it. Milani then clapped back in a TikTok video showing that the product held up in court was not released until 2017, 1 year after Heard filed for divorce. So there's no way that Heard could have been covering bruises with that specific makeup. A source close to Heard told People, quote, Heard's lawyer was using an example of the kind of makeup that she used. And at number 2, stolen story. One of the biggest bombshell allegations against Amber in the course of her divorce has been the accusation that she stole her assault story from her assistant. And she played the story off as her own so she could exploit it for financial gain in the divorce. Heard's former personal assistant testified to the UK High Court that her assault story was used by Amber in Amber's depositions against Depp. The assistant, named Kate James, testified that she told Amber the story in confidence of a horrible incident that happened to her in Brazil that traumatized her. Kate James said on the record, quote, Amber referred directly to a violent incident that occurred to me 26 years ago, and she twisted it into her own story and she used it for her own use. Adding, this of course caused me extreme distress and outrage that she would dare to attempt to use the most harrowing experience in my life as her own narrative. And finally, at number 1, Johnny's kids hated her. Throughout the trial, it became clear that Depp's kids with ex-partner Vanessa Paradis did not approve of his relationship with Amber. It was even exposed that Lily Rose did not attend his father's wedding to Amber in 2015. In court, Johnny said, quote, my daughter Lily Rose did not come to the wedding. She and Miss Heard were not on particularly great terms for several reasons. Johnny Depp also claimed in court that Amber tried to drive a wedge between him and his kids. When talking about how possessive Amber was, Depp said, quote, Amber had to have me there at all times for her own needs, also alleging she would tell me what a bad father I was and that I had no idea how to parent. When asked in court if Heard had any relationship with Johnny's kids, Depp responded, quote, it didn't exist. My children are much smarter than me. They refuse to be around her.
Number 10 changed her name. Amber is currently enjoying some downtime with her girlfriend and daughter as she vacations across Europe. But she doesn't go by Amber Heard anymore. She's using the alias Martha Jane Canary, who is more commonly known as Calamity Jane. That's the alias that she's said to be using for her travel arrangements, which of course would prevent anyone from knowing her exact whereabouts. The real Calamity Jane was known as one of the rowdiest and most adventurous women in the Old West. She was a frontierswoman and professional scout who also appeared in Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show. It's not really clear why Amber chose the name in particular, but it does have a lot of history behind it. We know that 2022 was a really tough year for her. The cameras were focused on her every move as she went through one of Hollywood's most high-profile legal battles ever with Johnny Depp. But at the moment, it looks like she wants to stay anonymous for as long as possible. After the trial, a source close to Amber spoke to People magazine and said that she is now focused on raising her daughter in Europe, so it seems like she is not going to be moving back to the States anytime soon. Number 9, return to Hollywood. Ever since the trial, there has been endless speculation about Amber's possible return to Hollywood. Most of this comes down to the disaster surrounding Aquaman 2. A few months ago, Amber furiously denied reports that she was cut from the sequel. At the time, her spokesperson person called the rumors inaccurate, insensitive, and slightly insane. They insisted that she will get to keep her role as Mira. Eventually, there was a petition created to try and get her out of the movie, along with several reshoots involving other actors. But even though they might have cut Amber's role down significantly, that doesn't necessarily mean they took her character out altogether. During the defamation trial, DC Films president Walter Hamada said in a pre-taped deposition that Amber and her co-star Jason Momoa weren't well matched as an on-screen couple. He said they didn't have a lot of chemistry together. I think editorially they were able to make that relationship work in the first movie, but there was concern that it took a lot of effort to get there. Although many people were surprised that Jason was the one fighting for her scenes to stay in the film, because there was just so much pushback against the idea. There was also a lot of chaos with the release date, which eventually got pushed back by a whole year. The final release date is now set for Christmas Day this year. Number 8. The settlement. In December, Amber released her own statement explaining her decision to settle the case against her by only paying $1 million to Depp. In doing so, she also doubled down on her position in the trial. She explained that she lost faith in the American legal system and said the settlement spares her the ordeal of further litigation and allows her to finally emancipate herself from her marriage. Quote, "I have made no admission. This is not an act of concession. It's important for me to say that I never chose this. I defended my truth, and in doing so, my life as I knew it was destroyed. The vilification I have faced on social media is an amplified version of the ways in which women are re-victimized when they come forward." She went on to say that she exhausted almost all of her resources during a trial, and she was exposed to a type of humiliation that she simply cannot relive. Amber claimed that even if her appeal was successful, the best outcome would be a retrial, and that's something that she cannot go through for a third time. For their part, Depp's attorneys released a statement saying, "We are pleased to formally close the door on this painful chapter for Mr. Depp, who made clear through this process that his priority was about bringing the truth to light." Number 7. Back on social media. In a recent video published on TikTok, Amber was seen making something of a comeback online. Although the clip was not published on her own account, fans were extremely excited at her return to social media. A TikTok user by the name of Bernardo Triana shared a video of her dancing to Selena's Como La Flor. Amber looks very happy with her signature red lipstick as she swayed her hips to the music along with her dance partner. The video quickly went viral and was viewed over 11 million times in less than 48 hours. Judging by the comments, not everyone was happy to see her pop up on their feed again. But the video also received a ton of positive comments too, with some fans saying that they were happy that she was just out there living her life now. Viewers were quick to praise her rhythm and her dance moves, which made it seem like she had put the events of the previous months behind her. It was later discovered that the video was taken in Guatemala, and Amber was dancing with a young member of the film crew from the movie In the Fire. That movie is currently in post-production with no actual release date listed on IMDb. Number 6. Gaining more supporters. Just minutes after the verdict was announced, Amber rushed to Instagram and posted a statement declaring the reason she lost. She wrote, "I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband." She really doubled down on aligning herself with the Me Too movement, writing that she was disappointed in what this verdict meant for women and called it a setback. Quote, "It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up could be publicly shamed and humiliated." She also added that it sets back the idea that violence against women should be taken seriously. With that post, she made it clear that the verdict was a defeat for all women. At the time, the backlash against the Me Too movement seemed to be at its peak, so it's no surprise that her supporters seemed to resonate with the message. Months later, she would go on to win back some support from celebrities, including women like Julia Fox, who argued that Amber could not be considered the aggressor in her relationship with Depp because of the age gap and the power dynamic between them. Number 5. The appeal. Right after the trial, Amber's attorney Elaine Bredhoft spoke to Savannah Guthrie about Amber's plan to appeal. In June, the jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. They also awarded Amber $2 million in a countersuit against him. Of course, she was not very happy with this outcome and decided to try and challenge the verdict. At the time, Elaine claimed that her client has excellent grounds for an appeal, and she brought up the previous lawsuit against The Sun, which Depp lost. She said, "We had even tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case, because he already had his shot." Elaine went on to speak about all the evidence that supposedly did not come in, but a successful appeal would have been a real uphill battle for the actress, as appeals are notoriously hard to win. And it wouldn't even be a new trial, but an examination of whether or not it was fair or if any mistakes were made that changed the outcome. But Elaine insisted that Amber's medical records were suppressed, and that a number of things were allowed in court that should not have been allowed, which caused the jury to be confused. Simply by questioning the verdict, they planned to send a message that Amber is not giving up and continuing to fight her case. Number 4, attacking Depp's fan base. While she was on NBC, Amber spoke to Savannah Guthrie about the reason she felt that the jury largely ruled against her. One of the biggest points she made was that popularity and power mattered more in the courtroom than reason and due process. She revealed that she felt less than human during the trial because of the overwhelming outrage against her by Depp's fans. Quote, "Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks, with people holding signs saying 'Burn the Witch' and 'Death to Amber.'" If you think back to the trial, you might remember the hundreds of protesters that were waiting outside the courtroom, cheering for Depp while vilifying Amber. It was really quite chaotic, but it also demonstrated his undeniable star power, and that's the reason she thinks he won. Amber said, "He's a beloved character and people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor." She goes on to say that when she took the stand, she saw a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans, insinuating that the jury was influenced by the overwhelming voices of his fans, who only saw him as a beloved actor instead of who he really was. But this kind of thing was to be expected. After all, the court proceedings were broadcast live on TV, which attracted crowds and crowds of fans. Number 3, blaming the internet. Amber has also been very vocal about the role that social media played in the trial, and emphasized just how much of the internet supported her ex-husband. Last year, the trial was one of the biggest stories online. At the beginning of the proceedings, it seemed like fans were split between the two of them, but when courtroom clips started to go viral on YouTube and TikTok, Depp gained more supporters on his side. Nothing proves this more than the hashtags. Last year, the hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp gained billions of views on TikTok, while the hashtag Justice for Amber Heard was stuck in the millions. When it was all said and done, Amber tried to assert that this had a real impact on the case. She said, "Even if you think I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me, look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation." Well, to be fair, jurors were instructed not to follow the discourse online, but at one point in the trial there was a 10-day break, so it's possible that that could have interfered with the case. But the barrage of online hate that Amber has received on the internet cannot really be downplayed. By calling it unfair and lopsided, her defense team was still trying to score some points with the public long after the verdict had been reached. Number 2, therapist notes. After the verdict was announced, Amber and her defense team consistently spoke out about all this evidence that was supposedly suppressed during the trial. Some of this included things like therapist notes that they claimed would prove she was physically attacked. Amber said, "There's a binder worth of years of notes dating back to 2011 from the very beginning of my relationship that were taken by my doctor." After the notes were examined, it was revealed that on one page, the therapist wrote that Amber claimed Depp had hit her and threw her on the floor. Another note 8 months later said that he had ripped her nightgown and threw her on the bed. While on NBC, she explained that the notes represented years and years of real-time explanations of what was going on. Elaine Brenhoft also claimed that her client's medical records were suppressed, which she said were very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting the domestic violence to her therapist. But if it was so significant, why wasn't it counted? Well, it was because the judge ruled the notes as hearsay and refused to count it as evidence in the trial. To this day though, there is still an argument about the validity of the notes. And coming in at number 1, new text evidence. In terms of other suppressed evidence, Amber also took major issue with certain text messages that weren't allowed into the trial. She claimed that these messages she sent to friends and family during her relationship with Depp are evidence of the domestic violence that she suffered during their marriage. In one message, she claims that she sent her father in 2014. She wrote that Depp kicked her in front of everyone during a private flight. In fact, that very incident was the subject of testimony in the couple's defamation trial. Some people believe these messages were solid proof that she was actually telling the truth. There were ones from 2015 which read, "Johnny did a number on me tonight. I'm safe and with my support tonight, but I need some real help. Can I come tomorrow? I called earlier because I thought I had a concussion and didn't know if I should have called police." By exposing these text messages during her NBC interview, it's possible that Amber was trying to somehow muddy the waters of the case. It seemed like another last-ditch effort to win fans over to her side.